And I honestly mean this, I think we owe a great debt of gratitude to science. Science has, in many ways, helped ease the suffering of this pandemic, which was more than likely caused by science.
Barbellion is a miniseries by Black Hammer creator Jeff Lemire, who asks the question, what if Martian Manhunter, but queer, when Black Hammer is inevitably optioned and made into a blockbuster franchise? You will stamp your feet in consternation that you did not pick up this book.
Novel respiratory coronavirus overtaking Wuhan, China. What do we do? Oh, you know who we could ask? The Wuhan Novel Respiratory Coronavirus Lab. The disease is the same name as the lab. That's just a little too weird, don't you think? And then they ask the scientists, they're like, how did this, so wait a minute, you work at the Wuhan Respiratory Coronavirus Lab. How did this happen? And they're like, a pangolin kissed a turtle.
But I did want to really promote out. So Yule.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that's my old store.
Oh no. Okay.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. I'll
Damn
tell everybody
Google. Get Yule Carter, who does have a YouTube channel over there. Go. So we have criminally low subs. We got to get people over there and subbing to your channel.
All right, John. Oh my God. Oh my God. There's been an outbreak of chocolatey goodness near Hershey, Pennsylvania. What do you think happened? Like, oh, I don't know. Maybe a steam shovel mated with a cocoa bean. Or it's the chocolate factory. Maybe that's it.
We're going to start our volleys. We hope you like the show. Everything is ready. We're raring to go. We'll give you all the latest songs and dances full of them. We're gonna start with hot shots. Just watch this chorus steps.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Fantastic Comics Presents, our 72nd episode consecutively. We did take a little bit of a break last week, but we did have a show. It was a different title. It's all about Woody Allen and his possible innocence of what he's been accused. Rick Worley, comic book creator Rick Worley, documentarian, does a whole big spiel on it, and we talked about it last week. Maybe you saw it. If you are watching this week, we are going to talk with Landry Walker. Here's the things that are going to be talked about on the show today. For those of you that don't know, my name is Yule. I own Fantastic Comics. We are a comic book store in Berkeley, California. Not just a YouTube show talking about comic books like so many others out there. This one has a theme song. We also are a comic store. I am a comic store. You know, corporations are people. I should do that clip. Because we are a corporation and I am a people. And I am Fantastic Comics, and Fantastic Comics is Yule. But sometimes I say things that the store... Anyway, when we bring Landry on, we'll get him to put his foot in his mouth instead. That's not my job. So, yeah, here you go. Here's the stuff below. I want to say thank you for everybody coming in to watch the show.
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
Hello.
What's up?
Awesome. Early on, you murdered that guy, said he's going to be late. That's okay, because I'm going to try and BS with Landry and then start getting into some serious stuff. Maybe show him some comic books that are coming out. Maybe find out what he's reading and maybe get a little bit of a history on him and then start getting into the gotcha questions. Fantinuum's here and he says yo, yo, yo twice. ATN's here. ATN, you know this guy. Jilby Pill in the other room. Hello. They're talking to each other. Isn't that wonderful? Like, hey, Gab. Hey, Blab. Hey, Blab. Hey, Gab. Comic Quirks with Jimmy. I'm sorry. I pilfered. I pilched your guest. I noticed you've been upping his frequency, so I had to get in early, I had to get in now, or else I was worried that I was going to lose him. And I feel like, you know, maybe we can like put him on the spot and find out who is closer to Landry. I don't want to find out. That's fine. Fizz Chozo, hello. Yes, you are the YouTuber. And LK, yo, what's up? All right, excellent. Everybody's here. I am going to put on my camera. I'm not shy. I just like to do it when, you know, it's just my face only on the screen. Whoa, it's so much, you know. I mean, obviously you can see the stuff behind me a little bit better. Look, I got a box of Bootios right there. Some South Park stuff. All these wrestlers that fell over when I was moving this chair in here. Pokemon hat. Some Frank Quitely, Batman and Robin. Yeah, spinner rack. So welcome everybody that hasn't been here before. Anybody that is showing up late to the game, hello. And yeah, exactly. So much face. And you know what? Why don't we just get into it? I'm going to bring my guest in. This isn't really the interview part of it, but I always forget to do this. So, all right, let us bring in a guy I've known for a while, a guy I've worked with, although he wasn't an employee of the store. Maybe we'll talk about that. But definitely he was my boss when he came to work. He was like, you'll go work the reg. I'm going to go fart around back here. Do the counts really because it was weekend stuff. And that's work for you. Yeah. So without further ado, I have this one right here. Let me get it cute. Landry Walker. Oh no. Let me remove him and put him back in. I don't see your face, dude. Are you there? Oh, there you are. We're having connectivity issues. Or are we? Maybe somebody in chat can say, you know what, Landry's coming out fine. You just can't hear him, Yule.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Landry.
Can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear you actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Can you
having
respond
lots
to me?
of technical difficulties. I'm trying to see how to turn off the camera. Do you mean? Yeah. Can you see
Yeah,
me?
the camera's cool. I can see you.
Yeah. Hi.
But you're not moving.
Hi. Yule. Hello.
You're kind of moving, yeah.
I mean, I don't
So-
move much. I'm gonna try to turn. Yeah. Yeah. I turned the camera off. How's that? Can you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you. I can hear you. Okay, so everybody in chat, this is some of the things that happen sometimes. Landry, can you finish my sentence for me? 1, 2, 3.
Well, if I can hear it.
I guess not.
4, 5.
All right, here's what you want to do, okay?
Ah, man.
I want you to
Okay.
X out of here and come back in, and then I will bring you back in.
Okay.
All right. All right, excellent. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the world of oh, no, we don't do wrestling here. I used to do a wrestling show. I don't anymore. And I still watch the crap, but, you know, sometimes it's okay. Let me see. So, yeah, there was a delay without a day. Yeah, I'm trying to get used to me without a beard. Yeah, looking at baby face. Baby face Yule. Butt chin. Butt chin. More face. Yule's a chameleon. Yeah, that's true. I have no compunction about. I like to grow it long, but it's warm weather now. You know, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm glistening. And having a beard, I kind of snore, kind of mouth breathe when I'm sleeping, and I wake up with drool. And on a beard, it's just kind of disgusting. And I don't know. I think I'd rather shave it. It's a shame that it grows so well because it's. I mean, it's nice to have it. It's just not something I'm always like inclined to want to take care of or manicure or anything like that. It is fun to be able to do a dirty Sanchez or like a goatee or, you know, mutton chops or something like that. But ultimately, I'm pretty freaking lazy and maintaining and procuring it, trimming it, whatever. All right, so I'm going to play a little clip from a show I was on, Comics by Perch. You know what I'm going to do right here? I'm going to do this so that you guys can watch something fun. Let me get this. Oh, yeah, Yule's fave channels. These are some comic book. Actually, I should take Fantastic Comics off. These are some channels on YouTube I like to watch. There are plenty more out there, and I can't remember, and I also forget to update. Oh, and Sci-Fi and Fantasy Read Along is a show I do with ATN, who's in the chat. And now, I was on Comics with Perch, and if you haven't heard me on that, you should check it out.
How about this? You know, You Murder This Guy wants to know, what's your secret to being so likable?
I think so. I can, you know, and that's like really, come on, give me a break. So I have an ability to run really hot and come down really quick. And after that happens, at least in my mind, it's all okay.
Yeah.
And if the other person can get past that, usually we have a pretty good relationship, but a lot of times some of my best friends are people who both they and myself hated each other up front. I'm like, oh man, this person is a mega douche. And they were thinking the same thing about me, but probably with, you know, worse words.
Yeah.
And, you know, laughing and, you know, speaking your mind and being honest, I think is, I try to do that. I mean, there's been some things that I've done as a comic store owner, like my partner, my business partner, when it came time to, you know, I don't know, like finally sealing the deal.
Yep.
I had put so much like what I never thought I would even care, because like I'm such a sit under the tree and let the world revolve around you, you know, type thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just gonna be a hippie, you know. I don't want to own
Well,
a
you're in
store.
Berkeley, so
Yeah. Well, I mean, it helps. I mean, it's where I was always destined to be.
yeah. Nice.
But it's funny because like I'm such a hothead also. So I'm like angry young man that's still 50.
Correlate to that, you know.
I don't know. It just be as honest as you can. But like I said, like my business partner, I just kind of was like, sweat equity. I don't know if I agree with our deal that we were talking about. And so that changed our relationship.
It's tough. I mean, part of being a retailer is you kind of have to be somewhat mellow. I mean, at some point you can't be that crazy person.
Mm-hmm. It's true. Speaking of Savage Dragon.
Yeah. All right. Well.
Oh yeah. If you ever want to hear more of that story, you got to get me to 1,000 subs on this channel and get me monetized. It's not really so much that I want to be monetized for this channel. It's just, you know, it will be, YouTube will take me more seriously as a content creator. Of course, I should probably do some stuff to be taken more seriously than just running live casts, you know, on Tuesdays. But people help, and so do views. So if you can let people know, I guess if you have an alt account, you might want to do something. You know, some Russian bots. I mean, you might date some. Let them know about this channel, and I'm just not paying for them. All right. Speaking of someone who I sometimes rub raw, at least when we're talking. Vocally, I'm talking. Landry Walker, how's it going, sir?
Hey, how you doing? I think I'm in now. This my connection a little better.
No, you sound great.
Okay, great.
You look good. You look like you're moving. Yeah.
We were talking about you. I only heard a little bit. I was able to come in and out real quick, and I heard you talking about running hot, and then you're fine. And I'm like, yeah, I've met you before. Like I know you. We worked together, didn't we? I mean,
yeah,
we were coworkers for a long time.
Well,
years.
You would kind of fill in for me, or not for me, for your partner.
Sometimes.
That's
sometimes,
so you were kind of.
I just show up.
That's how it was for the most part. It was
that kind of place.
It was that kind of place, but you needed the art to get done, so you had to come in and fill in.
Yeah. So for anyone who, I don't know if you covered this, but that was Eric Jones was working with you. He was your coworker, artist of Supergirl, Cosmic Adventures, Batman, Brave and Bold, Danger Club, so on and so forth.
Hold on, I got one right here. That guy.
Yeah, I have a giant. That guy. That's that bastard. Look at him pretending to get stuff done. We all know he doesn't. I remember that.
Yeah.
I took that photo, I think. Yeah, I think I
You did?
Took that in the office that I think I took that one in the office we were sharing with Comic Relief for a while, right at the end. So when did I meet you? Like 90?
Had to be like 99. No, probably 99.
I thought it was earlier than that. I just remember you had the best facial hair. You had the best goatee, and I shaved at your house once.
Oh, you did? That was you?
We were moving stuff, and I needed to shave. You're like, come over, come shave. Because you lived just down the street. And I came over and I shaved.
It must have been when I was up on above Aaron L's. Was that what it was?
Yeah, right there. You were just right up there.
All right. So for those of you that don't know, I lived a block away from Comic Relief. And when Todd would get there early, that's the manager of the store, he would open up the back door. So rather than walk all the way around, I could just walk right out my front door and basically through the alley to the back of the store. And it was a wonderful life. I could go to the bathroom at home during lunch breaks. I had a refrigerator there.
Was your apartment accessible from the alley?
No.
Oh,
I was
okay,
on
that would've been
I was on the
best.
next
Like,
block above the
we didn't
pizza
live in one of those
shop.
Chinese food restaurants. They hated us. They had my car towed once. Um, so what you want? What do you want to talk about, Yule? What
We're
am
going to
I?
talk about comic books. I'm going to
Okay.
let's see here. So let me put the
I mean, I can just
banner
talk
up.
to you. I miss you, Yule. It's good talking to you.
Oh, that's great. I entitled this "Oh, the Places You'll Go" because that's your
Oh no,
career. You've been
is it?
all over the place.
Oh yeah. I don't like to. I don't like to be in one corner. You know, you're talking creatively, right? Like I'm all over the map because I've got
Yeah.
an entire stack of books I've written right on my left here. I'm going to see if I can show you. There. Let's
This is
see.
risky.
Are those showing up at all?
Yeah, they
Can you
are.
see the titles?
I see Star Wars. I see
You got
Ultimate Guide, Justice League.
let's see. Let's see, because I'm not. We got the Last Siege.
Like I've already got these pictures ready to go.
And well, that's better. That's good because all right. Let me see if I got some you're not going to have because you're going to have. All right,
Well, I
I'm
ripped
dropping
them
the
off
books.
the internet, so I
You
cropped
got
the Kid Gravity. I
Gravity.
think I got something about that. Yeah.
You got my Game of Thrones Clash of Kings work.
Oh, I botched it on that one. That's true. I
Haha.
knew to do it, and I wanted to tease you on it, and I wanted to get like maybe possibly a scoop so that maybe when Robert Jordan died and he didn't finish his Wheel of Time series, and they went and got Brandon Sanderson to write the rest of it. Is it true that you're going to be George R.R. Martin's? You're going to finish it for him?
If I do, I'm just going to end it the way ElfQuest ends when it's all aliens the whole time. Oh, did I
Oh, is
spoil
that?
ElfQuest? Oh no.
Oh, damn. ElfQuest is
That
still
book.
going on. I'll have you know.
Oh, okay. I only read the first 20 issues, the original 20 issues. I was reading them when I was like 13 years old, and I don't know if people can see me. It's been a while. If I've spoiled it for you, I'm sorry that 1981 or whatever it is was such a mystery, but it already happened a long time ago, like a long time ago. Yeah, no, I mean, I did all these like Star Wars books. I did the Ultimate Guide to like ships and battles. I did the Ultimate Guide to the Justice League. I did the Ultimate Guide to Wonder Woman. I read 700 issues of Wonder Woman for that. I read a lot of
700.
Yeah.
What was
Binged it.
what was your most favorite thing to read? What time period during that?
Well, the Sikowski stuff that where Denny O'Neil came in and Sikowski came in and they got rid of Paradise Island. They got rid of the Amazons. They got rid of her powers. She started being a globetrotting like super agent, secret agent, fighting in wars and taking down what's her name? The Doctor Poison, not Poison. That's the 40s. What the Metal Mask, Dr. Cyber. I love that stuff. It's so good with I Ching. It's so good. I mean, it has flaws, but there's a 2-issue arc where she recruits like the heroes of myth, like the Valkyries and other things, to fight against the armies of Ares. And it's this huge. They managed to do this in 2 issues where Ares is attacking, and she rallies all these warriors, and they show up and they battle and they lose. They lose against Ares, but they do such a good. Ares is so impressed that Wonder Woman's enemies carry her defeated body on her shield to the Amazons, and they basically say, you know what? Yeah, we won, but it was so badass. We're out anyway. It's okay. We're cool. So even in defeat, she won, and it's so good. And then they had that whole thing with when Gloria Steinem got really upset that Wonder Woman wasn't the Wonder Woman from her child anymore, and she was just launching, what was it, W magazine or some women's magazine, and which was also Warner Brothers. So they, under pressure, reverted her back to what she was, and had her get stuck with a bullet that grazed her head. She lost her memory of all her globe-trotting adventures. She's like, "Where's my mother? Where's my costume? Where are my powers? Oh no!" And she just reverts to needing to be saved by Steve Trevor all the time. It was really bad. Really bad.
Comic
that was a long answer for that question. Sorry.
No, Comic Quirks with Jimmy says, "Be honest, you really do like the Gloria Steinem run." Yeah,
They assassinated her in the comic, though. They killed her off. They clearly were a little
Did they
bitter
really?
being dictated. Yeah, look at that. I don't remember the issue number, but they don't say Gloria Steinem, but they say the head editor of a popular women's magazine, and they have an assassin kills her in like one panel, the panel that just before Wonder Woman has a bullet graze her head and loses her memory, and they revert
and you wrote
back
about
to,
all this, and you wrote about all this in the definitive guide.
This book isn't about. I wasn't allowed to talk about the real world stuff. I was talking about the history of the character from an in-universe perspective. If I was writing a book, and I've written books like this before about, like my Ships in Battle Star Wars book is no, yeah, I think that's the one. That's the one where I'm talking about the filmmaking magic of Star Wars. So I talk about what they did, how they blew up Jabba's skiff was blown up on the top of Lucasfilm in San Rafael for the shot when you see it in Return of the Jedi. So I do that kind of writing too sometimes. But this book was, it's for 10-year-olds to pick up and learn everything there is about Wonder Woman. And I went to the comics for it. I didn't want to source it from the goddamn internet. I wanted I wanted to verify every single thing I put in that book, and I wanted to give every era of the character equal weight. I didn't want it to be like 2 pages on gold and silver era, and then it's all stuff that's on Wikipedia, which is how often those books are typically done. Another tangent.
Well, I commend
You're gonna get me started. Have you?
All right, nobody liked depowered Wonder Woman anyway. Fizz Chozo, I do not agree with that at all. Working in a comic store, those are very sought after issues.
Yeah.
What, she in like a white leisure suit? She's kind of like Rhoda. She's like a policewoman, all that 1970s stuff.
The ones where she battles Ares, that 2-issue arc.
I'm
gonna rotate.
And not only that, wasn't that like when when they bounced her back, wasn't like Nubia then introduced and stuff like that, if I'm not mistaken?
They introduced Nubia. Oh my god, that was so I'm doing a signing for my Wonder Woman book, and this family, and they're black, they come up, and this woman's got her there with her daughter, and they're the first movie is about to come out, and she comes to me, and I'm the expert on Wonder Woman. She says, so she was very excited. She heard that there was a black Wonder Woman written about in the 70s, and she wanted to know more about it. And I had to say, well, look, there's good stuff and bad stuff. It's good that they did it. And I told her the origin, how the character was sculpted from dark clay. Yeah. There's a questionable choice there, a little uncomfortable. I had to explain this. I said, look, I mean, it was a product of its time, and they were trying really hard, but there are some missteps when you read it from a modern perspective.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I know they did later. They did good stuff with that.
If you're doing if they're just kind of like sticking with the origin of Wonder Woman, and they're making this an equal version of the same thing, it's it's questionable, sure. But I mean, if you go into it with just a little bit of naivete, you can explain it away, I think, okay.
It was just an awkward, I felt bad. They were really elated over the notion. And am I cutting in and out? Because,
no, you're doing okay.
Todd, we were just talking about, he keeps texting me right now, and it keeps popping out, and I'm like making the alert go away. I don't know if it's affecting.
Fine.
He's like chatty right now. Todd and Joel and Eric are all texting me right now. Well, we have a little group thread. They're all texting on it, and I have no idea what they're saying. Okay, comic book, Wonder Woman. I've written a bunch of stuff all over. Okay, yeah. So where will you? That's where you were going with that.
All right. So, firstly, let's just catch up. Let's not even worry about that kind of stuff yet. We want to get into that in a little bit. Firstly, did you hear that today California reopened?
I heard. Yeah.
How did you celebrate that?
I mean, you're talking to a guy who's worked from home for 30 years. I like, other than brief times working in stores like with you, I avoid people. How often do you see me? every couple of
Once
years.
a
You
year,
know, I mean,
a
yeah.
blue moon, something like
I
that.
try not to leave the house as it is, so that's my natural state of being. It's been interesting, and I try to recognize that, like with that comic I wrote, that was a benefit piece for your
Yes.
store, actually.
Hmm.
Um, I was not particularly hit personally by the pandemic. I'm antisocial. I work from home. Not much changed in my world. That's why I interviewed other people like Todd, who have been more deeply affected, and try to tell their stories, because I had to recognize that this one wasn't something that hit me, if that makes
Hmm.
sense.
Hmm.
So no change happened for me. I don't, yeah. I only shop at comic book stores, as you probably know. So I just eat comic books when I'm hungry.
It's been pretty much the
Alan
same
Moore.
way for us. We've had some
Delicious.
customers that have had other family members, and then things happen like jobs and that kind of insecurity. But for the most part, that and my family and my friends haven't. We're all. I mean, I've been not going to movies for a long time, so let it burn. I mean, I feel sorry, and part of commerce is going to work and then leaving for lunch
Yeah.
and seeing things and building that up. But we've already been going away from that with the Ubers and
Hmm.
the pick up my food from a really nice restaurant,
Well,
type stuff already.
I mean, the thing is I say I'm not directly affected by anything, but we're all affected one way, by positive or negative, by healthy economic infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm a big believer in, like, here's a good example. I collect Transformer toys. And a lot of people who collect Transformer toys, like myself, are not into the Transformer movies, not fans of the movies. They like the classic stuff, and they go to Hasbro and they go, "Hey, why don't you make more of the G1 style toys or characters that we love? Why you make these Michael Bay monstrosities?" And finally, Hasbro releases a statement, says, "Look, the Michael Bay movies, whether you like them or not, they sell. Their toys sell, and they sell enough that it allows us to do the toys you like, which don't sell as much." And
Mm-hmm.
the explanation being, we're all part of this economic infrastructure. The rising tide lifts all boats idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you may not like going to the movie theater, but a successful economic ecosystem where the movies can thrive benefits all of us.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree. We've seen in comic books with all the companies like kind of going and doing their own thing aside, Diamond is basically going to only have Image and other smaller companies, and then they're going to have to deal as like another in between a comic retailer and Marvel
Oh
because of
my
the
God.
Penguin and Random House deal, and then
I know.
DC's doing their Lunar thing, and so is Scout, and only
I,
the people that are locked in. How do you feel about all that?
okay, you
Rising
got
tide
to,
and all.
okay, you know about Puppy Toss, right? Do you know about Puppy
Mm-mm,
Toss?
mm-mm.
Okay, back in 1992, I was part of a small press publishing collective called Puppy Toss, along with Eric Jones, Dylan Williams, several other people, Gabby Gamboa, Scott Schustorker, Kay Capelli. We published and distributed tons of comics. We published a comic anthology called Skim Lizard that had work of people like Bobby Madness, Vaughn Gilwilder, myself, and whatnot. We also distributed comics like Adrian Tomanay's Optic Nerve and so on and so forth. So I was in charge of distribution, and I was in charge of mainstream distribution specifically. I was dealing with Heroes World, Diamond Comics, and Capital. Heroes World was great. They were so great to us. This is 1992. Capital was good to us. They were like, "Yeah, sure, we'll carry your comics." Diamond took a big dump on us and told us to get the hell out. They said, "You are not a comic book company. You are not part of the ecosystem of comics. You can fuck right off." That, am I allowed to swear on this? Is this for children?
We're after 15 minutes, so swear away. I'll
Okay.
just change the banner.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So no, I mean, because I'll try not to, but I swear like
No,
a
don't worry
sailor.
about it. Go for it.
All right, fuck
Boom.
it. I'll swear all the
There you
fucking
go.
fucks I want. Okay, listen. So Diamond wouldn't touch us. And then Image Comics happened. They took the number 2 spot for 1 month. DC and Marvel freak out, and Marvel is in the process. Marvel buys Heroes World and makes it their distributor. DC is like, oh no, what's going on? So they go exclusive with Diamond. Heroes World crashes. Marvel shifts over and goes exclusive with Diamond. Diamond is grabbing every comic publisher it can as an exclusive content, leaving Capital with nothing. All the small publishers, right? Like, I'm blanking on who do we? Kamiko, Eclipse, like Slave Labor Graphics, the really major players in the industry, right? So what happens is Capital City initiates a class action lawsuit against Diamond for creating a monopoly. Technically, they're not a monopoly because you got these small distributors like Last Gasp, Cold Cut, and these other virtual non-players in comparison around. Because what distributor can survive with just those, without Diamond, without DC or Marvel? And so they all close. Capital City closes. All that we're left with is Diamond. Diamond agrees to start carrying books like the ones I did back then, again, and they adopt Capital's, system,
like
and
the
they did for a little
contracts and
bit,
stuff. Yeah.
and then they dropped it. So I feel like I've been here before. I've seen what happened. This is not Diamond gaining exclusivity was never good for comics. We had a much more robust, getting back to economic ecosystems, we had a much more robust economic ecosystem when we had multiple major distributors. Marvel and DC should never be with one distribution company. They should still be with Diamond and Scholastic and whoever, but that's not going to happen. So it's just what happened to Capital is now happening to Diamond, and it's inevitable. I mean, the comic market is increasingly, we're seeing it increasingly in younger readers' books. Like, and we saw it. I was working on Disney Adventures from 2001 to 2007, or 1999 to 2007. Do you not guess how many copies of an issue we sold? We were doing comics, original creator-owned comics for that magazine. How many copies do you think we sold?
I remember when I opened my store in 2011, there was a Bleeding Cool article about how Roger Langridge was the most read writer that nobody knows because he did magazines like that. So I'm going to imagine, what was it like? Because you were in grocery stores. What was it, like 700,000? Was it more than that?
Keep going.
Yeah, there you go. A lot.
A lot more
you
than
tell
700,000.
I'm just happy it was more than 700.
A couple million.
Wow. Boom.
We outsold everything.
When I pimped the show on the Fantastic Comics Twitter account, I pimped the fact that, you sold more than probably all the hot people that were writing and drawing comics at that time.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part. Yeah.
I outsold Grant Morrison's X-Men. I outsold everything Ed Brubaker ever did. I always talk shit about Ed on these.
All right, hold on a second. Jimmy says, did the first two Bay movies were good? All right, I don't know if I agree because I haven't watched them.
Jimmy,
Landry,
have me on. We'll talk about that.
Landry, do you have Respect the Prime 1986 album?
Respect the Prime.
It's a goth industrial tribute album to the 80s Transformer movie. Our friend Jim in Pittsburgh put it out on his label.
I'll have to check that out. That sounds
all right.
amazing.
Very good.
I want to check that out. I like the Bumblebee movie a lot.
Let me see. I don't want to derail with toy talk too much because I don't know as much. This is what I don't get about Hasbro. They have licensed all those properties to IDW and they sell 10 to 20K. Oh, how can they be satisfied with that? Easy. Media Comics I've never been in a store where they've sold so hot, really.
But here's the thing. I work a lot in licensed comics, and I also facilitated a license deal for SLG when they did their Disney license. Here's the thing with a license deal. With licensed comics, the company, you give the company money, and then you make comics, and after your term ends, they own everything you did. All you're doing, they don't lose money no matter what. The comics don't have to sell. They don't have to sell at all. Because no matter what, the person gets the company gets the licensing fee, and they end up with the rights of everything you created, and they get to make new toys or whatever they want with that. When we did Tron 2.0, a comic based off that, everything we did became Disney's property. And if you look at the second Tron movie, half the opening comes right out of our comic.
All right. Hold on. You're getting Apple and cart and all that stuff. Hold on a second.
Tangents.
We need a Gizmo update now. For those of you that don't know, that's what this means. Let me just get to it. Do I have it? Yes, I do. Gizmo had a little spot on his penis or his shaft, right near the base where his testes would probably be, in those area. And it was like a little fleshy spot. And when I had him checked out, they said we would like to dig it out so that we could find out what it's all about. So he had an operation to do that. And we're going to find out in a couple days, or did they say weeks? I can't remember. But let's cross our fingers and hope it's just one of those malign thing. Malignant? Wait.
Non-malignant.
Non-malignant. Is that the only word?
I mean, that's a good. We don't want
saying
malignant.
Saying
you don't want it the other way.
I hope you can't curse it accidentally. All right. Anyway, that's the Gizmo update, but he's doing pretty good. He has a shaved leg where they had to do that whole IV thing, and he was moaning a lot yesterday. He doesn't like coming out of being sedated, put under. So there's your Gizmo update, but he's doing pretty good. He'll be in the store in the next couple days, but I don't think I'm going to bring him in tomorrow. Wednesday's really busy anyway. Although maybe I will. We'll see. It's yeah, benign. Thank you, Ray.
Oh, there is a word. Yeah, okay.
I knew there was.
We are not doctors.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it. Okay. Since we are talking about your career right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop my camera because I'm a little shy when I'm taking a look at pictures. I don't know why. It's just one of those things. Let me get to the Landry file.
I have my own file.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Of all our good times. Remember when you broke the fluorescent tube during that party?
Oh, was it me or was it you?
No, it wasn't me. It was you.
I think it was you.
It was you.
Totally.
It was totally
really
you.
think
I think it was my party. It was my birthday.
No, it was
party.
in the back of the store, dude. Well, it was your party, but we were in the room smoking, and I was outside of the room. And when I came back, you were like, I broke the fluorescent.
No. Oh, you're not putting that on me. No. Oh, no.
What is
I just
this
want to eat
comic book?
Danger
These
Club.
are all alphabetical. Danger Club.
Danger Club. A story about. Should I be telling what the story is? It's
yeah, sure.
It's kind of like Teen Titans meets Lord of the Flies. All the adult superheroes go off to fight some alien menace and leave the sidekicks behind, and then the adults never come back because a big crisis thing kind of happens, and so they're all left trying to figure out who should be in charge. Meanwhile, the menace that killed everyone is still coming.
All right, I like that. Oh, and what's the deal with the 8th issue?
There are two versions. There are two.
Yeah.
We wanted them to. We didn't want them to have alternate covers. Actually, there is a two. They have an alternate ending. There are two different endings to the series, and we originally wanted them to be released. So stores that ordered 1 out of 10 copies you got would just have a different ending, and we just pack them randomly. You wouldn't know what ending you got, and we weren't going to advertise it. And I was told. Image got concerned. They're like, "Oh, retailers are going to be mad." You're a retailer. Would you have been mad?
I don't think I would be mad, especially if it wasn't like, Bleeding Cool coming out and going, oh my gosh, blah, blah, blah. And it was even amounts, that type of thing. I don't know. I mean, I could see some things that would be upsetting, but overall, I think it's a really cool idea because we need something different and a reason to purchase comic books.
Yeah. Well, they made us slap a different cover on it at the last minute.
Mhm.
And that's the Todd Sucks variant cover. It says Todd Sucks on there.
Mhm.
Then Diamond didn't list it as an alternate ending. They listed it as an alternate cover. And everyone's like, why do I want an alternate cover of this book? Because we weren't doing alternate covers.
Right.
I know we did a bunch for Last Siege. That was Justin Greenwood's idea. And we have beautiful. I went along with that because it was a chance to get some amazing art by some amazing. Gabriel Hardman did one. Phil Hester did one. Andy Suriano.
Dude, I love Gabriel Hardman.
I mean, every single one we got was just beautiful. And Gabriel's such a nice guy. Him and
There's that Eric Jones again.
That's Eric. Oh God, that guy. We got to work with a lot of great people. So doing the alternate covers was fun, but normally it's not my thing. I'm not an alternate cover guy. Incredibles. Right. I wrote that. Yeah, I wrote oh man, that one. I wrote 20 issues of that and only 16 came out. And the last 4 were the 4 that would tie it all together. That would have been was one of the best things I'd written, but only if you get to the end. Without the end, it just seems like a bunch of random garbage stories. But you get those last 4 and you realize it was all leading somewhere.
Now, why was it canceled?
When they stopped publishing
just sales? It was just sales that it got canceled?
You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you not hear me? Oh, no.
Hello.
All right, stop. Hold on. Hello.
There you are.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, did you hear me rant about Incredibles?
Yeah, I heard it all. Yeah. We're good.
Okay.
We're good. Okay, I'm going to share screen again.
Okay.
So I don't want you to get in trouble. So I'm not talking about anything bad about anything. Or you can. You can push it all you want. My question to you is this. You have these grandiose plans for last issues. Why did they not continue the Incredibles? It had to be pretty popular, wasn't it?
I have no idea. I mean, I have no idea. Like we talked about before, licensed comics don't necessarily do great. There was no buzz about the Incredibles at the time. Disney had just bought Marvel and boom, exited. They just exited. I don't know what was going on with that. Listen, I was working with Mark Waid, as you know, on those first 4 issues. And suddenly I was off the book. And I found out, I kept working on it, and I found out through previews that I was off the book, and I was replaced with, oh, God, I'm blanking on his name. Anyone wants to research it, they can find out who was supposed to write issue 5 upwards of The Incredibles. And I found out, I emailed Mark, I'm like, what's going on? And he bumped it to the editor. The editor contacted me going, really sorry, meant to let you know. Like, there was a decision made. I'm like, okay, it would have been great to know. So that sucked. And a week later, they called me back going, that other guy didn't work out. Disney didn't like anything they were doing, so we need you to come back on, but you have to use the covers already commissioned that were supposed to match his stories. I'm like, oh my God, what a nightmare. So I had to work with this alien invasion story, and that's where the tentacles come from. I had to find something that'd make it work because we couldn't have aliens. It was just a mess. So they had me write. And they also were behind schedule. So I was writing issues 5, 6, 7, and 8, and 9, 10, 11, and 12 all at the same time. And then I did the same with 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So I had like 2 months to write all of those. Can you see me?
How fast can you write a script?
It depends. Hold on a second. I'm going to turn on some light here. My camera's going to go all wiggly wumpus. Yeah. It's just out of reach. Is that better? Am I a little better now?
Well, I'm not looking at you when I'm sharing screen, unfortunately.
Fair enough. Okay,
so I'm sure you're fine.
It depends. Like, okay, have you read my Joker's Asylum Mad Hatter issue?
Hold on.
All right.
All right, there's Kid Gravity.
All right, we'll talk about, Kid Gravity. Then I'll answer your question. Writing. Okay, Kid Gravity is a series we did for Disney Adventures. It's original, creator owned, just like Little Gloomy was for Disney Adventures, where it's a science fiction hero trapped, or not trapped, but he goes to an academy. But it's actually a really sinister academy where they're training half the children to be heroes, half the children to be villains in some kind of cosmic war. So it's fun. It's a fun book.
All right. So, what was my question to you before?
How long does it take me to write a comic?
Oh yeah. How long does it take you? All right. I'm gonna do this.
One. Am I okay? Am I too dark here? I can
No,
get
you're
some more
fine.
light.
No, you're great.
Okay. It depends on the book. Creator-owned stuff takes me a long time because I agonize over it. But you put me on. I just did a Star Wars comic a couple months ago. I mean, that took me 2 hours, I think. And it's a short story. It's an 8-pager, but that's a couple hours of work. That's a Crimson Corsair story. I'm very excited about with a certain clone from the Clone Wars returning. Yes. And
there you go. It's good mood lighting. It LK says.
Most like my Batman stuff took me usually a day per issue. My Mad Hatter story maybe 2 days because a little more complicated, maybe 3 at most. But then like Danger Club, I wrote like 6 or 7 versions of each issue. I worked on that thing for 5 years. I agonized over it. I have variants up like crazy of different takes, and I'd sit there and be fine with it for a month. I go, no, it's garbage. I'd throw it all away and I'd start over. Yeah, I'm gonna go get some light in here. I'm gonna.
No. I think you shouldn't really even think about it. So speaking of the Mad Hatter. Okay, you know.
Yes.
Okay. Speaking of the, I mean, this is a really wonderful career we're seeing play out right here. All these different things that you've done. You have no problem working on you can do creator-owned stuff, which you've done. You're like creator-owned or IP. You know, it's just you can do it all. And like IP for, it's not even like working on Spider-Man at Marvel. It's like working on Star Wars with Lucasfilm breathing down your neck all the time, right? And then if it's not them, it's Disney. And I've heard horror stories with creators that just can't handle dealing with companies and all their little idiosyncrasies. But you've had to do this a number of times, right?
Oh yeah, I've been doing this for I've been doing this a long time, and the thing you have to do is you have to just let go of it. It's like it's not your property. Hold on a second. I gotta close the window. It's loud over here. It's not your property, right? You don't own it. As much as you may have all these ideas and stories you want to tell, the job is a job. If somebody hires you to make a pizza, and I worked in a pizza place for 10 years, you don't just wing it. You give them what they ordered. Sometimes that's fun. Sometimes it's frustrating. And the worst is when they change your work. Like, okay, I did 3 issues of Red Lanterns. They brought me in to close out Charles Soule's story because he left the book and there were 3 issues left. And I had to, but before he left, he did the 5 years later arc that DC did. And I had to bring it to a natural point where it would segue into that. So I had that to work with. I had 3 issues to do it. I came up with a story, involved Guy Gardner traveling. He's the last Red Lantern, and as after Atrocitus had infected the planet with rage and created all these temporary Red Lanterns. And Guy is basically going around and collecting all this leftover rage that has like left pockets throughout the world of just horror and madness and murder and despair. And the thing is basically he's fighting against the genesis of a new avatar of rage, a new butcher who had been destroyed at that point. I got 2.5 issues through that. The first 2 issues were done. The third issue was half penciled. And somebody said, when my editor came to me, said, look, there's somebody heavily involved with the Green Lantern property who decided that this is a story they want to tell. They want to be the ones to tell this story.
Who was it? You can spill the beans. You can do it right here.
It was somebody heavily connected with the Green Lantern properties.
Somebody really... if this person was like... I don't know. I can't say anything. Never mind.
Yeah, we'll
No,
we'll
it's
go with
okay.
that. Somebody
it's fine.
decided they felt some ownership over it, and they had enough sway that I had to rewrite my issue halfway after it was drawn and come up with a different ending, which completely took the teeth out of this. Like it had no point. Do you think the people reviewing the book went and said, well, obviously he was hamstrung? This actually ties into your question about working within these lines, coloring within the lines. If the book fails because of editorial interference, you take the blame. If the book Incredibles ends without it all pulling together what would have been a great arc, and you never get to see why it's great, so it just looks like a bunch of random stories thrown together, who gets the blame? You know, that said, if an editor brings great ideas to the table and you feed off of them, you get the praise too. So it's kind of, a little of each way. I'm going to adjust the lights again.
Nonetheless, you got to work with Giffen and Sienkiewicz. That's pretty sweet.
Oh, fantastic. Giffen was just the nicest guy. I think I made it worse. I think I made my light situation substantially worse.
You're fine.
Okay. Giffen.
Oh no, this is going to be like a George Costanza thing. You get the zipper up.
Keith is a phenomenal collaborator, and I found out I was working with Keith when he called me, like 9 a.m. And now, bear in mind, Keith Giffen was one of the most influential creators on my work and my style of storytelling. I looked at all the, he'd do these great 9-panel grids, or he really had control over the range of like these headshots, and he could convey an entire story with just slight changes in expression. He just does this brilliant work, and you see a lot of it with DeMatteis's work too. The two are very closely interlinked, and this is stuff that was highly influential on me. So when I wrote this, I was
Please go. I'm sorry.
I was really channeling this stuff when I wrote this script, and so I actually had this page inspired by Giffen's work, this 9-panel grid of the Mad Hatter trying on different hats. So Keith gets this script and he calls me. I've never met the guy. I've never spoken to the guy. He got my number from my editor, Mike, and he called me. He's like, I just wanted to let you know, I get scripts sometimes, and I'm like, I'm in the weeds. I've got to do so much repair work. It's like, not this. It's all here. This is great. This is what you give. Well, this is going to be so easy for me. Everything is in place. I'm thinking, because I learned it from you. It was a heady moment.
That's awesome.
Great compliment.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me. So one of the things that's happened recently was a lot of people were talking about Herb Trimpe recently.
Right.
And, letters that he's written or whatever or interviews with him. It's very defeatist feeling, as far as like his work in comics, since he was like such a big deal. Sort of. I mean, he was a worker. Yeah. Like he was like, I'm there every day and I'm putting in my time and I'm doing all this stuff and it's good and it's good and it's good, and it's that kind of stuff. And a lot of people now, he's not with us anymore, want to elevate people and higher. And we could get into the rankings if you ever want to do something like that. But, they're really going hard at it. But, he also taught and did other things to make ends meet. And it is sad when a person doesn't keep their job forever. So recently, J.M. DeMatteis, is that how you say it?
DeMatteis commented on this, yeah.
He tweeted.
I can't read that, yeah.
It's okay, I'm going to read it out loud. He tweets, and I'm just going to, talking about freelance work, okay? You're out there on the front lines chasing your dreams and trying to make your living, and your loyalty should always be to the work and the collaborators, the artists, writers, and editors who are an intimate part of the creative process. Don't fool yourself into believing, to being loyal to a company. Companies aren't people, they're entities. I'm not saying you can't have a terrific working relationship with Marvel or DC or Dark Horse or whoever. Okay? And he goes on. That editor-in-chief who thought you were a genius, fired. The publisher who understood your creative vision, gone. And the next editor-in-chief, the next publisher, could very well decide that you're a talentless neophyte or a tired old hack and toss you right out the door. So if you're a freelancer, freelance. Always keep your feet in as many doors as possible. This way, when one of them slams, you won't be standing in the hall alone and confused, wondering how the hell you're going to support your family. And then there's Landry, doing it all the time, writing how-to books about people's or characters' careers. A lot of properties, Star Wars. I mean, crazy. So, who's more important to Star Wars, Landry Walker or Chuck Wendig?
I mean, Chuck's more popular.
Yes, but you're still doing Star Wars stuff.
That's true. I am doing a little bit.
Zing. That was for the kids out there. Every once in a while you have to know that you know. Let them know you know. Yeah, man. And then, all right. So probably one of the most popular books of yours that I ever sold. Let me get this queued up.
I know where this is going.
I only did a couple pictures because I want to get into. You did this, and then the New 52 happened, and there were similarities, and you did Supergirl Cosmic Adventures in the 8th grade with Eric also. You and
almost
Eric.
Always with Eric. Yeah.
Man, we could get into how does a writer really just need to be able to hang on to an artist as tight as possible? How
relationships.
Tight, if you're holding sand in your hand, how tight do you have to hold it to keep an artist with you?
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, my situation is certainly unique. Eric and I have been working together since we were teenagers, and he's like family. I mean, I am sitting in a house he grew up in because I bought it from his father. This was his grandfather's house. Mm-hmm. We are going to work together until we can't work anymore. And part of that is deep mutual respect. That's how you forge a good working relationship, is respect and empathy and compassion and similar interests. And that is finding a person who can deliver quality work, who can achieve all those as well, and you're willing to work with them and achieve all those things, and you have a similar creative mindset. I'm very lucky. I'm extraordinarily lucky because it's very hard. Let's be clear. My name gets thrown around a lot more than Eric's because I'm much more in the public eye, and that's how people look at comics now from the writers. But I have no career without Eric Jones. Without Eric having been there to draw all my early things and my later things, without his tireless efforts, I don't have a career because it's so hard to make a career as a writer. As an artist,
it really is.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very lucky. And I have a career because of that friendship and that loyalty, which I will always respect. So yeah, it's a lot. You have to work really hard, and you've got to be willing to work with people.
Well, now you worked really hard to get proper connections in DC, and it finally paid off when you got to be able to do this book, right?
Yeah, it only took me 15 years. And then I got a crack at DC. Of course, mind you, I'd been doing Disney Adventures, readership of a couple million, easily, sales of a couple million, creator-owned original comics work in there. And then we moved to DC Comics, to do this book, which sold about 12,000 copies. And people are like, hey, welcome to the big times, man. You really made it. Congratulations. How does it feel to be in the big two? I'm like, you don't understand. The big two are tiny. Marvel and DC are tiny. They have never been big. That's the hype. That's that's all promotion, and people believe it. Like, these are small companies in terms of the publishing end. They've never been big. It seems that way. I know it seems that way, but it's
so
not.
So Raina Telgemeier, had she done any books yet?
No.
Was there a Dog Man
when
yet?
Supergirl came out. No,
not when
I don't
Supergirl
know.
came out.
I don't know if they were done when Supergirl came out, but when we were doing Disney Adventures, I don't believe they had come out. They might have.
I don't even think they were. And I'm not trying to slam them, but what I'm saying is, like, you were doing stuff that was geared towards a younger audience. Not talking down to a younger audience either. That's the difference between a Telgemeier. Actually, it's even between it's even the difference between like a Dogman and other books. You know, Dogman knows its age group. Raina Telgemeyer's books, they know their age group, and they push the boundaries enough to where, you know, older and even younger people can get into them. And your stuff was a lot like that.
Yeah, but we were, as you say, we were years ahead. We started in 1998 with all ages comics, and people.
I mean, obviously there was a Bone and stuff was out there.
This is where I was about to go there. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You can point to us. You can point to us and point out that we're before X person or Y person, and it's true. But Leave It to Chance by James Robinson and blanking on the artist's name.
Paul Smith.
Paul Smith. That was before us. Bone was before us. There was a small wave of that stuff, but you could go even further back. You get the Harvey comics. There was a point in time where you go into a comic book store and it was all ages except for one little adult section. That's what Comic Relief used to be. And now I go into comic stores and retailers are proud to show me their tiny little corner of all ages. I'm like, what the fuck, man? This is backwards.
Especially when like the Scholastic stuff is selling, you know.
And why do you think DC and Marvel want to shift over to that kind of market?
Right. Well, they do, but they don't like they. All right. So number one, they already had it. Have they talked to you guys since, you know, then?
No.
Have they been like, oh man, these guys were trailblazers in the DC universe. You know,
they're never gonna recognize that. The problem is every time I got a break in with a major publisher, the editor would leave. I started working on Supergirl, my editor left, and then we got a new editor, and then when she left, then I started working on Batman. I finally got in on Batman. My editor left the day my book came out. And then he moved to the Lucasfilm, and I got opportunities on Star Wars. You build relationships, and these people are great. They got to do the things they got to do. But if you are already published by a company and you don't have a representative there to fight for you, it is very hard. It is very hard because a new editor has no currency in bringing you in as already as an existing talent. There's no currency for them to because you're not breaking news anymore.
So you need to have some sort of steam behind your name if you're ever going to be nobody and break in, except you're not nobody.
But let's look at this, man. I mean, do you know how many people, like I was given a major, okay, so I'm driving around with some guy who's one of the biggest names in comics. We're driving around. I'm not going to name who he is. And he's telling me how depressed he is because all anybody wants from him are the same things. He's like, you know how many versions of X type scene I've written now? That's all anybody wants from me. I'm so bored. I'm like, I understand. That's why I revel in not being popular.
So especially writers, because you know there is a artist, writer, and people don't necessarily understand who creates stuff. That's another thing that's been having some conversation out there.
I'm going to walk you through my house with a charger.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm at 1%.
I mean, it always seems like every 6 or 7 years it's cyclical, where the writer and artist divide of comics exists. Especially when there's stronger writer artist in one person. Like a Daniel Warren Johnson. Frank Cho can do his own stuff, and it feels like the writers always feel like they're kind of getting slighted, or the artists feel that they're getting slighted. DC will put their name up front instead of the writer, and then they'll give new titles to people, or whatever they can do to make
Oh man, okay. So were you following this stuff back in 1992? It was really interesting.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like there was always Peter David when the Image guys started. But when you have a problem with a writer artist, you also have a problem with Frank Miller. You also have a problem with like a Wally Wood. You have a problem with John Byrne. You have a problem with some of the greatest creators of all time are the people that pencil and draw their own, and write their own books, and we all really love those books, but it feels like there's always like this triad, like having a divide between artist and writer. All right, so we're going to take a break. I'm going to play a video. Hold on a second. Let's try and figure out. Oh, yeah. Oh, you know what? It's mukbang time, everybody. All right. Let me get that banner up. Mukbang. Also, if you need more Yule in your life, check that stuff out right there. All right. Mukbang. Here we go.
Are you done downstairs?
No. Why?
I'm going to tell you to go home.
All right. Well, we've got Lao chips. Lay. I don't know what that is. Lays.
Yep.
What language is this?
I think it's Thai.
Oh, Thai. So we have salted egg Lay's potato chips. Here we go. Was it made in America?
I bought it in America.
Oh my god.
Whoa.
Jeez. I never smell my food first. I probably shouldn't have. Holy cow.
Let me smell it. Hold on.
Yeah. All right. So we got Jeffrey here also. All right. Here you go.
I mean, they smell close to Lay's, actually. It doesn't smell that much different.
Here we go. It's salted eggs.
Made in a lab. Yeah? Here, I'll suffer also.
I don't think it tastes good.
Well, of course they don't. Eugene gave them to you.
Yeah.
Oh. God.
I'll do one more for
That
posterity.
aftertaste is brutal.
It's that's
At first it tastes looks like a hot Lay's.
Am I eating?
Am I eating this correctly?
Am I eating it correctly? Yeah,
At
exactly.
first it just tastes like a
It's like,
barbecue.
am I? Is this gonna? Yeah, it kind of tastes like
Almost
barbecue.
and then you get the aftertaste of.
What it is
Evidently
it's it's coated with whatever makes taste.
Oh my god, and it's not a good. Oh my god, it burns too afterward. It
And
burns.
since it's chemically made, you know.
So you want to have it like when Eugene comes around. Oh,
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
oh my god, it's
Um,
disgusting. Why say eat one?
He will.
Oh, tell you the rest of the
Salted
bag.
eggs from where'd you say?
I think it's Thailand.
Thailand.
There
There you go.
All right.
Good stuff.
There you go, everybody. My mukbang. Usually I do it live, so it was kind of cool that we were. That's what we do outside the store when nobody's coming by. I actually had such wonderful conversation with customers last week. We have it downstairs, and when both my brother and I are in the store at the same time, so usually Wednesday through Saturday, we usually have it open if it's cleaned out, and sometimes it's not. I'm sorry. Call ahead. You know what? Let me get that up. You can call ahead. There's our number. Don't call now. I'm not answering. You know, we just it was really great having long conversations with people. It almost timed out perfectly for like just as the conversation was ending, someone was coming in. And it wasn't even just a Wednesday. It also happened on Thursday and Friday, if you can believe it. 3 straight days of comic book talk. And then I went on Thinking Critical, which is a YouTube channel. And every week, let me see. Do I have that? Oh, yeah, right here. And every week on Thinking Critical, Monday, Tuesday, sometime, it was this Tuesday, we're going to do a slabbed and raw episode talking about collecting comics, collectability, whether or not you should get something slabbed, maybe show your collection. There's descriptions down below. Just check out Thinking Critical and check out Slabbed and Raw. We've done 2 episodes and it was fun. So there you go. All right, adding Landry to the stream. Here we go. How's it going, buddy?
I'm back.
He's back. All right. How's it going? Do you
I'm
watch
good.
Do you watch YouTube videos about comic books?
Sometimes.
Any particular channel that you watch?
No, I go for I mean, I don't do much of it, honestly, because it's my world.
Mm-hmm.
And usually if I'm looking at anything on YouTube, I'm watching Like, what are the origins of the Tolkien universe? Like, what were the, you know, how did Melkor like rebel against, you know, whatever? How did Sauron forge the rings? I'm into that stuff. I mean, comics is half the time.
Boring.
Sorry, there. Well, I mean, it's my job.
Mhm.
Half the time, it's just like it's stuff I already know.
Sure.
Or half the time I listen, it's like these people are working off the best information they have, but they don't have all the pieces, so they're making about. There's a video. It's a wrestler, and I remember it was originally, oh God, what's his name? Posted it anyway. And it's this wrestler talking about how he holds fandom in contempt. And he holds fandom in contempt because it's a group of very dedicated people who have very passionate beliefs, but they do not have all the information. They think they do. They have knowledge, but they don't have wisdom. It's a whole thing, and basically, and how that leads to contempt. And so they become contemptuous, you know, because they lack the context for so much of the information they have. And so they make all these conclusions that are often lacking. And there's a lot of times with different fandoms, I go in and I peruse and go, yeah, there's a big piece of the puzzle you're missing. And I can see why without that piece of the puzzle that you'd have to have signed 6 NDAs to have, you might be looking, yeah, no, my suppositions make complete sense. But when you're on the other side of it, you're looking going, I've seen those pieces of the puzzle. And, you know, okay. So it's my world. And it's not that there isn't good information on some of these, and it's not that they aren't entertaining. And I love the creator interviews. Those are the best things for me when I do watch anything like it. I'll check out anything Howard Chaykin's talking on because he's just because he's bonkers. He's just an intense guy. Have you ever you've met Chaykin, right?
I don't think I have. No.
Oh man, I had dinner with him once, and he looked at me and he asked. He didn't know I was the youngest person at the table, but he didn't know that. And he looks at me. He goes. He finds out I'm the youngest person at the table, and he goes, "What the fuck happened to you? Did you suck Satan's dick?" I'm like, that is dinner with Howard Chaykin.
Let me ask you a question. Let you murder that guy ask you this question. Who is your favorite link? What was that? Oh, you already did it.
I see it. Okay, you know that's a tough one. Like I love Gimli. I just always like not the movie Gimli. I hated how he. I mean, still enjoyed the movies, but he's so goofy and used for comic relief when he's so somber in the books and proud. But I just
like
love
a
the
dwarf should be.
Yeah, grim. That's a very basic, very like. I know some of this, like, I mean, Gandalf, of course. Oh, Radagast. Not necessarily, again, not talking movies necessarily. But I always loved, when I was 12, I had the complete guide to Middle Earth, and I learned about the Istari and the Maiar and Maya. I always fail on the pronunciations or the exact. I know it's MAI something. Well, they're basically the wizards that are sent to Middle Earth and take on the bodies of old men in the beginning of the Third Age, and they I was fascinated with the idea of this brown wizard who's communes with the birds and beasts, and he only has a brief scene in Fellowship of the Ring, and so that was exciting for me. I don't see who's Jim Cornette.
Jim Cornette, the guy who used to have the tennis racket. No, Landry hasn't been watching him. I've been listening to him though. Have you? You know, that's why I'm such a curmudgeon. Going back to the
No, say you were curmudgeon when I met you.
I'm always that way. I mean,
you're a 90s
for the most
curmudgeon.
Part. Yeah.
Soul patch style beard and like, kids these days.
Exactly. They don't understand classic comics. These kids.
Yeah, you used to say that a lot. In 1998 or whatever.
In 1999.
You say 9, I think it was earlier.
Well, I've learned it from older people. So like that's what you're supposed to do in comics. You're supposed to say like, "Oh, you think that's cool? That's been done back then, and that's when I read it. So fuck you." You know.
You don't remember when the Egyptians wrote that on a papyrus, do you?
Oh my gosh, dude! They use the veins. What are those called in the leaf? So as panels, as borders.
Oh yeah. No, you want to go old school. You know who's nice? Can I tell you who's nice?
Hmm.
I met once. I had dinner with a couple of years back. J.H. Williams.
Really?
Super nice.
He's
I just want to throw that out there. It's so easy to trash talk people. God, he was so nice. Like I was very nervous. Like it was very like, hi, J.H. Williams. I mean, the draw is beautiful. Panel
Yeah.
construction. His panel construction was actually a huge influence on me for my Clash of Kings work, because I did a lot of thumbnail work on stuff for that. And yeah, super nice guy. Yeah, I can
Hold
tell
on,
you
I'm
all about
doing-
who's not
I'm
nice.
drawing a J.H. Williams the third page right now. Okay.
All right.
Now I'm not a very good artist, so you got to understand that, like, you know, this is just like representing what it should be. But here, let me make me big. That's my J.H. Williams the third page. That's a breakdown, you know, thumbnail, if you will.
Thumbnail, if you will.
Okay, all right. So you're a big fan of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And you are translating in comic book form the second and third novels of possibly the only other greatest fantasy novels of all time, other than Lord of the Rings. You're doing the sword. Say it for me. The
Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah.
Clash of Kings. I'm only doing book 2. If we're going to do book 3, no one's told me yet. I would love to do book 3, but we're on.
Oh,
you know what it is? What's confusing is we broke book 2 into 2 volumes. That's why it's confusing, because it was. I got hired to do 32 issues, but we did 16 and 16 because we had to do a big gap to let like different things happen. I'm actually just putting to bed the 32nd issue. It's a little bittersweet for me. I was actually approached to do the Game of Thrones one, but George ended up wanting to go with somebody who'd worked before. And that's a guy who went on to create some popular TV show, a book that became a popular TV show. So he wasn't available. So they remembered me, contacted me, because I was working with Dean Koontz back then. And then they remembered me.
Dean Koontz?
Yeah, I did a book with Dean Koontz.
Really?
Yeah, it's called House of Odd. It's a manga. It's an original story with his Odd Thomas character. The one played in the film by the I don't remember the actor's name, Anton something, who passed away tragically. Anyway, yeah, I did a book with Dean Koontz. That's what got me on the New York Times bestsellers list. I would have been number 1 New York Times bestseller, except numbers 1 through 6 were reprints of Walking Dead trades because the show had just launched, and so I was number 7.
It's hard to beat Kirkman.
Oh,
especially when those new seasons start up.
It was brand new. It was brand new. So anyway,
Kirkman, man, and he's a shark, I hear. We all know it. You don't become a retroactive founder of Image if you aren't like an all powerful deity or something. Do you remember? It was the guys that left Marvel. It was
I remember
Rob Liefeld, Jim Lee, Mark Silvestri, Robert Kirkman. You remember all those guys, right?
Yeah, I was working at Comic Relief. You know, I worked at Comic Relief in '92. Like, I was a register guy in '92 when Image started. So I had to deal with the lines out the door of everyone buying like 10 copies of each Image book. And of course I had my own. That's when I was doing all that distribution stuff for Puppy Toss and all that. So I was right in the middle of comics. I was already deep in comics, I should say, the business end. Let's see if I can get more comfortable. See, I had to leave my office and sit closer by. It's deeply uncomfortable. All
right, I'm gonna share
arm that holds my phone and all that. Yeah.
I'm going to share screen with a couple of more pictures of some comic books that you've done. These are some creator-owned comics. All right, here we go. Little Gloomy. This is one. This is not the one that started it all, but when I moved up to the Bay Area, this is what you were working on mostly.
Yes.
If I remember correctly, it was this. You did some one-shots. What this ran like? What,
a TV show?
issues? Oh, I was getting to that.
Issues.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No,
We
no,
did
it's all right. It's all right.
6 issues of the original series. It ended on a cliffhanger that we never followed up on. We did 2 specials. The first 4 issues were collected in a trade. Henry Selick, director of Nightmare Before Christmas, did the introduction to the trade. And then we did 3 specials, 2 Halloween specials in full color because the series was black and white, and then a Trick or Treat Halloween special. And then we were doing that for Disney Adventures also. So there were original Little Gloomy comics appearing in Disney Adventures at the same time.
Well, let's go back to that. Oh yeah.
And then we rebooted it. I don't know, getting ahead again though.
No, it's all right. Okay, now, most recently for Image, this is your most recent one, right?
Yeah.
What's it like not working with Eric?
Well, okay, I should say, okay, hold on. That's my most recent Image book. That's not my most recent book. I have a more recent book than that.
Oh, okay, we'll get to that then.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
I won't
sorry.
put it up there.
This is what I meant. Yeah. Well, I mean, they might see it, but I won't.
Eric did work on it. He was a colorist.
Well,
in the first 4
all
issues.
right. So Eric's the colorist. All right. But you know what I mean. Seriously.
It's a different experience.
Even with the
Justin's
Batman,
fantastic.
you had to. Or got to.
Yeah,
I should say.
Eric was actually could have been the penciler on that, but he was overcommitted and he turned it down. That's how Keith got on board. But it's different. I write fuller scripts when I'm not working with Eric because Eric and I share a brain. I can shortcut a lot of things. It worked out with the Batman story. I wrote a very full script because I didn't know if Eric would be drawing it or not, and that actually really paid off. With Justin, initially I wrote fuller scripts, and by the time we got to the end of it, I was writing looser. Justin is phenomenal, great professional. Him and Eric are very different. Eric is all about control in his line work. Eric is this machine-like quality, where Justin has an organic quality to his work, a looseness that I thought really spoke well to the piece. I wanted a rough world. I wanted a dirty world. I wanted a world that was every panel had energy and motion, and Justin is phenomenal at this. And it needed to feel rough to match what people expect from that era, that medieval era, a dirtiness. As opposed to you look at Eric's in my new book.
Now I remember I pissed Landry off something special when I was like, he was like kind of like. The thing about Landry sometimes is he'll kind of like gauge how you're going to respond to whatever he's talking about. And he was like, I'm going to mention Justin Greenwood. And I'm like, he's all right, And then, I found out, you're working on this book with him. But, you're right. Sometimes when you're doing a job, your heart isn't into it. And maybe I was judging him on maybe like the scripts that he was getting. And also maybe it just wasn't really super exciting. But I thought he did a really good job on this series. And so did you, by the way. That last siege was fun.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's
Oh, no,
go ahead.
No, it was a piece that was very important to me to do. I spent a lot of time trying to find a way to make that one happen.
There was that Rutger Hauer fantasy, or not even fantasy. It's like a medieval movie. I forget. It had a couple of different names. It had somebody in it. Other actors.
Oh, somebody, right?
Yeah, somebody. And it was a very down and dirty medieval. Like the courtyard is all dust, and I kind of felt like this had that visceral feeling that gave off also. I'm not saying
that's what I wanted. I wanted. No, I don't know the movie.
Not Lady Hawk.
I think there is a perception about medieval times that is important to convey, and having the right artist for the right job. You put the wrong artist on. You attach a great artist to the wrong job. Their work is not going to look great. I'll point to this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but oh god, what's his name? He drew Batman: A Lonely Place of Dying. Classic Batman artist. Is going to fall apart.
Place of Dying. I don't remember.
Brave.
Not
Neil Adams. No, Jim Aparo.
Oh, Jim
I
Aparo.
was
Oh,
never sold on Jim Aparo's work. He draw the Joker, and he drew this with this. Like, how can he even close his mouth? It's like this. The Jim Aparo Joker was insane. I was growing up, and that was a guy drawing Batman, and I didn't like it. And then Dylan Williams, the late Dylan Williams, brilliant artist, was like, "No, you don't understand. Jim Aparo is fantastic." And he showed me Jim Aparo's work from the 1950s to 60s era, and it was like, and I realized his crime comic stuff. I'm like, "Oh my God, this guy is fantastic." And then I looked back at his Batman. I understood he's wonderful, but he's not a guy to draw who's going to give you like what I wanted out of those things. Justin was the right guy for The Last Siege. I'm not sure Eric would have been happy drawing it. I love Eric's work. Eric does great stuff, but Eric has a machine-like quality to his work. When you're working with a medieval setting, there are perceptions. What do castles look like to you? Just tell me, when you think of a castle, do you think about a crumbling gray structure?
No, I think it's something usually pretty majestic and like a fortress and something that you're not going to easily be able to like, just take over or anything like that.
What color are they?
They're, I don't know, white.
You want to know what color they actually were? No, they were like pink and yellow, pinks and yellows and stuff. They painted them bright colors.
What, so that they would like blend in with the sky or something like that?
No, it would actually protect the stone. It was they had like almost like a plaster layer with protective paint over it. I mean, these were expensive buildings. They just like houses now. They took pride in them, and they were. That's where we get the concept of like the fantasy palace. But that works if you're doing like a Cinderella type thing. You want that. But if you're doing a medieval war story and you have a realistic castle, people look and go, "This guy doesn't even know what castles look like. This is all wrong." You want a crumbling, gray, stocky brick or stone fortification that looks like it's completely utilitarian, that it is for function, because that's the castles we know. And when you're creating a comic, it's very important to cater to what people expect, what their perceptions are. I can't sit there and explain to you, no, your perceptions of castles are wrong. I'm doing this historically accurate, and I can't do that. I can't stand in the store and sell everyone on the idea. The book needs to sell itself. When you're doing realism, you have to always break it a little for expectations and perceptions. Justin's work drawing these people with all this, energy and all this grit everywhere, it plays to that, because we think of the medieval world as kind of a dirty world. A dusty world, muddy and brutal. We don't think about what it actually was. People were desperate for color, just like they are now. It was bright. There was lots of all of that,
Well, it was a great series. And by the way, the movie was called The Rose and the Sword. It also went by another name called Flesh and Blood. It's very.
I know it by Flesh and Blood. I've seen the opening. I never hang out with them, so that works out.
Yeah. But very good movie. Also think and it's like, it's true. Like I often will think like, in a fantasy term, where the elves and the dwarves and all that other stuff, I think of like a really magnificent structure. But your stuff was like, this is dark and dirty and not, stuff's going down at night. The guy that's involved with taking over the city is a real piece of work. I like it. I thought it was really good.
It was all based on historical stuff about this character, Hereward Wake, who was one of the inspirations for Robin Hood. And he was a Saxon lord, a young Saxon lord, when the Normans conquered England. And he had been exiled and came back to find his family slaughtered. So he goes on this rampage and starts trying to take down the Normans. And so I built it off that idea. And it's just a brutal war story about anger, betrayal, and revenge, and a desperate attempt at survival.
And you can get it at, it's an Image comic. You get it at your fine local comic book store. Fantastic Comics.
Yes, the finest.
That's right. Hey, let me ask you. So you were alluding to something that you and Eric are working on now. What is that? Can you tell?
Yeah, I can show you. It's out. Look at that.
Oh, it's out. Was that first second? Is that the one?
It came out in February. Yeah.
No.
Came out in February.
I haven't ordered straight from first second, so I'm glad to know that. I'm bashful, embarrassed. We'll have that in a couple, probably a week. Wow, awesome.
Let's
wait,
see.
let me make you big again. Do it again. What's that about? Is this another all ages, or is this got curse words?
Yeah. Pepper Page is a young comic book fangirl who she's obsessed with a comic series called Supernova. She owns every issue and she knows every factoid about the series. And she lives in the far, far future from us. And she basically gets caught up in a science experiment, gets hurtled back through time, and becomes the hero that she is a fan of. And so she, on one hand, is enthusiastic because I'm this character. On the other hand, she knows everything about her future, like everything, including how she dies. She's read the death of Supernova a dozen times. And now that's her. And this is never what she wanted. Yeah, it's basically, I like stories where Danger Club, Supergirl, Pepper Page Saves the Universe all have the same, they share a conceit, which I don't like cosmic coincidences, and they all have aspects of their story that make them, that allow us to play to the tropes of comics, to play with the genre of comics and play with the and get very meta with them in a way that makes sense within the story. Like Danger Club, functionally, it's characters, superheroes fighting against their own reboots. Their universe has been rebooted 51 times, and they're trying to stop themselves from being rebooted the 52nd time. We came out with this before 52, New 52, by the way. Our book launched before that. Just to mention that. It's and the
Dan Didio is watching.
They're trying to stop the. They're trying to. Well, we have corporate. We represent corporate oversight exists in there, and that this demigod, this godlike being Kronos is one. He's consuming the universe and regurgitating it into. That's how the universe is rebooted in Danger Club. Kronos breaks out of the time stream, consumes the universe, regurgitates it into a more perverse version over and over again. It's happened 51 times. He is corporate oversight of comics. That's what Kronos is. He is the corporate editorial influence, repeatedly consuming and shitting out the universe.
Oh no. And I was gonna just say, let's what was that now? Hey, Landry.
Did you catch any of that? Oh no.
At the very end, no. Why don't I say this to you? Thank you for joining us this week.
Okay.
You're obviously having connectivity problems, and you've been a real awesome sport. Make sure you get Pepper Page at Fantastic Comics if you can wait long enough. Why don't you bounce? I'm going to end the show in just a few minutes.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me at all?
I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. Did you hear the part? Did you hear the part where I said that Kronos, the demigod, has consumed the universe 51 times and is shitting out the universe in a more perverted version, and that's basically our commentary on rebooting comics?
Oh, I didn't hear the rebooting comics, but other than that, yes. But now I heard it all, so it's okay.
Great.
I'll splice it together so it works
that's my
better.
favorite bit. Okay. All right.
Take that,
I'm
Dan.
gonna let you go. Thanks so much.
No, I'm going to let you go.
You let me go. Let's talk again, man. Let's hang out sometime. I gotta visit your store. We got a Pokemon and all that stuff. So
yeah, and you got to get a computer so we can do this for real, because I want to do that Batman that you told me to read.
Okay.
So we'll do that.
Yeah. Oh, you haven't read it? Oh, that's one of my best works.
Oh no,
read it.
I read it.
Okay.
I read it. I wanted to talk to you about it,
Okay.
but you're such a blabbermouth.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I'm
Get me
just
back
joking.
on.
Hey,
I'll keep talking.
I will. We'll do that. We will do that real soon. I've got a whole rotation of guests. It's awesome, and I can't wait to make you another one.
Thank you.
Peace.
Please do. Talk to you
X your
soon, man.
screen. Exit.
Bye.
Bye.
Xing.
Xing. All right, everybody. Hey, since I am on point, let's do this. Celebrate the end of the lockdown with a signing. Well, it's funny you should mention that. We're not having a signing, but I would like to have a signing. I think that would be a really good idea, and something I'd be really into doing. There's I'll tell you what I'm planning. I'm hoping to plan, but first, very exciting news. There's been some comic book announcements recently. And Donny Cates is going to be doing Incredible Hulk. Pretty excited about that because Donny Cates brings a lot of steam and action and back issue heat to his series. And the Hulk's already been hot with the Al Ewing stuff. And Al Ewing is going to go over and do Venom, I do believe, which is going to be Venom, but it's going to have Flash Thompson back in the Venom suit. He's back from the dead. So those are a couple of really cool series that are going to be happening. There was a hint on social media that Sorrentino and Lemire, look, I put the artist first. Look at me, I'm a good guy. Classified, but we're going to find out real soon. In November, maybe. I don't know, that's done. Oh, well, whatever, soon. Also, I got the PDF files for something that I bought in multiple copies for the store. Plot holes. This is Sean Gordon Murphy's plot holes. He wrote and drew and inked, and I don't know if he inked. He got his other pro friends to help out with this, including I think like Dave Stewart on art or on color art, and it looks really good. Check that out. I'm gonna show you some pages. I've got the whole copy or the whole thing in PDF form. This was an Indiegogo account. This project was supposed to technically come out in March, but it's only a few months late. And, you know, production is difficult, especially when you don't do this very often. It is, even though and the thing is like Sean Gordon Murphy, he's a pro, man. He knows how to get his stuff done. He draws really well and has done some really great things like Curse of the White Knight, the Joker, Batman, Murphyverse story. He did Punk Rock Jesus. He drew Joe the Barbarian that Grant Morrison wrote. There's even black and white pages to illustrate this manga-esque character. I don't really know what Plot Holes is going to be about. It's going to be like all these different characters, pastiches of other kind of like or archetypes of characters. So you have like this Rakshasa with a sword, a fantasy-esque type thing, and a little kid boy with a gun and a cigar, and a fantasy woman, and a Naruto boy, and an old lady spy with a gun, and this dude who's probably going to be like the main guy. Murphy's really good. And I'm really excited for this book when it comes in the store. I think it's going to be excellent. If you enjoy that type of stuff and you didn't know about it, also the store, Fantastic Comics, ordered copies of Liam Sharp's art book. And that's going to be coming in later. Liam Sharp is local to the area. And we were talking about it. And we'll see. You know, California's opening up, everybody. I don't really know what I'm going to do as far as the mask situation is concerned. I think personally, I'm going to probably have it, except for like when I'm really comfortable with the people I'm, hanging around. At the same time, it's hot. It would be a lot easier to not have it and trust everybody to have been vaccinated. I've been vaccinated, so what do I care? I do know that the idea of people sneezing around me is not very fun. and I think masks are pretty cool for that. The Jill, who's in the other room, was telling me about places in the area that she visited today, like everybody just out and about. And she noticed there were some places where masks required, and some places where I was like, we don't give a fuck. And then there's other places that were like mask requested. And I think that's ultimately what we're going to be at Fantastic Comics, a mask requested store. I do want to be able to have more than one small group in the store. For any of those of you that have been in the store, you know how small it is. We can't really, have a lot of people anyway. It's about as big as my room right here. A little bit longer. But we could have like 3 or 4 people in the store, and it wouldn't be like a big deal. But I got to gauge the local regular customer acceptance of that before I really make a firm commitment either way, and how I feel personally about it. But again, I really not like having the flu. I am pretty good as far as not getting sick anyway. But saying that, all right, let's see. It's going to be 80s the rest of the week. I love it hot though, because it gives the ugly people like me a better ground with pretty people. If we're all sweating, whew, that's another thing that's gonna even up just a bit. Okay, Fantinuum, as a libertarian, I think we should just respect the rights of private businesses. You don't like it, leave. That's fine. And the thing is like, I don't really want to hold on. I'll mask up if the person wants me to. Yeah, exactly. Masks welcome. Oh, that's a good one. Masks welcome. I like that. Something that's positive about it. Encouraged. Masks encouraged. I like that. Let's do it. I don't want to breathe your germs anymore. And not only that, I was getting used to foreheads. It was like a new, a new thing. Eyebrows and foreheads. Anyway, I'm really excited about the plot holes coming in the store. I'm really excited for Encore, which is that Liam Sharp. He's the guy that did Grant Morrison's and his Green Lantern for DC the last couple of years. He worked on Batman, Wonder Woman, World's Finest, where he wrote that. And it's going to be in the store. I'm really happy about that. Mask prohibited. No shirt, no shoes, no masks, no service. I got to admit, there's been at least one time when I've let some guy in the store without shoes, but he was such a beach kind of guy. It was almost like I couldn't tell him no. And he was in and out real quick. So, but that was the store with all the wood floor, and ooh, man, ooh. It's a liability. Let me see. I wanted to tell everybody about the comics that are coming out tomorrow. Not every single one. Let me stop my cam. Not every single one, because I don't have the time for it. And neither do you. But we're going to do this right here. Share the screen. And then we're going to get out of here. All right. I know that's crazy. All right. First up, we have Captain Harlock, Space Pirate Captain Harlock. Ablaze does a lot of different covers, and I got a few of them. This is pretty cool looking, though. I think that's Art Germ. Let's see. Demon Days Mariko. The Peach Momoko written and drawn series. Gosh darn these illustrators that write their own stuff also. I wish Landry was here so he could rail against this. The first one, so each issue is a number 1, but basically it's a Japanese rendition of Marvel characters. The first one was Psylocke, and it had all these other characters, and it was a nice Japanese fairy tale story, and I thought it was really great. And it sold out, and I'm really looking forward to this one. Fantastic Four, there is going to be a wedding. At the end of the last issue, we found out that a recently... how can I say this? Johnny Storm recently had sex with Doctor Doom's fiance. She accepted the question after the bedroom situation. Johnny Storm was actually under the bed hiding away as a 3D image of a hologram image of Doctor Doom proposed to, I forget what her name is. It's like Superior or something like that. That's his right hand. It's his wife to be. Jupiter's Legacy Requiem. Jupiter's Legacy and Jupiter's, I can't remember what it was called, was a mini series by Mark Miller, who has his Millerverse, which is also Netflix. They can pluck any of his brand new stories. Everything he writes is potentially a movie, a TV show, a mini series, whatever you want, a music video for Netflix. Recently, Jupiter's Legacy got season 1, but like Netflix does, did not get a season 2. But there will be other series that are coming out that will be Jupiter's Legacy related. Nonetheless, this book is also going to tie into the program, and Tommy Lee Edwards is a very good illustrator. The Many Deaths of Layla Starr is written by Ram V with art by Philip Andrade. This is really good. It's about Death, who is brought down to Earth as a mortal. And she has no reason for being, because there is a new life that is ultimately going to solve death. We're not going to die anymore because of whatever this guy is going to do. And so Death comes to Earth and is kind of intent on wanting to kill him. And we see this guy growing up as Death is learning about what it is to be human. And it's really well done, and it's got really good art, and I recommend it. Second issue didn't sell so well, so I didn't order a lot of 3, so you better hurry up in. Nottingham number 4. I didn't order a lot of these, and it's been selling out, but I have got second prints of all the other issues that have come out, including this one. So this will be out real soon. This was a really good story about like the sheriff of Nottingham maybe not actually being such a bad guy, and Robin Hood maybe being a little bit more of a piece of shit than we thought. It's got some interesting artwork. It's not the greatest, but it's atmospheric. Let's just say that. And it's good. I like it. Planet Size X-Men number 1, or the only one. It's written by Dugan, who's going to be the new X-Men art writer, and Pepe Larraz. It's part of the Hellfire Gala storyline, and if you've been reading that, you're going to be really into this. If you're into Hickman's X-Men, you're going to probably want to read this one, even though it's not him writing it. Anyway, this is going to be pretty popular in the store, so I recommend you get this. Silver Coin is all about this coin that gets passed from person to person, usually with horrific events at the end. Each issue is written by a different writer. All issues are drawn by Michael Walsh. This one is done by Ed Kissin-Brisson. The first one was good. It was Zdarsky, but I didn't read the second. I think it was Kelly Thompson. I just hadn't gotten around to it. But, the premise is cool enough, and the artist is good. So you might check that one out. From DC, we've got Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. This is an 8-issue miniseries by Tom King and Bilquis Evely, or Evely Bilquis. I'm not sure. Tom King, hopefully I don't want to commit suicide by the end of reading this or the end of the series. Does look really good, though. Time Before Time by Declan Shalvey, an artist writing but not drawing. The first issue was pretty good and we sold out. It's about people being taken back in time to a place. Anyway, the people that do the job do it because I think they're trying to do a heist is what it is. That's a bad sale. Hopefully you got more of the first issue than I did. Truth and Justice, everybody. Each issue features a different DC character with different creative teams. This one, just in time for Pride Month, features Batwoman. If you haven't had a Batwoman story in a while and you dig that character, this is probably something you're going to want to check out. We know Fantinium wants it. Anyhow, those are the comic books that are coming out. Also, Venom, the last issue of Venom. That one's going to be hot. $10 comic book. Woof. Whew. Multiple covers. Whew. Whew. My brother's like, oh my God, the shipment's this much money. What happened? It's Venom. Whew. Oh man, that could kill me. Fantinium, I need your help. Until then, thank you everybody for, oh damn, I never said, we have a Patreon page. Let me do this before we leave. How rude of me. All these people are patrons. They give at least $1 to the show. It's or to the store. Either way, if you want to feel like you want to help support a YouTube channel that's trying to find its footing, or you want to help a comic store that's trying to find its footing after 10 years. We just moved locations not too long ago. It's been a pandemic. We need help. No, but you can give $1, and it would free up the interview that I did with a comic creator that's been on other YouTube channels. Not so overdone like a Landry Walker or a Joe Corallo, but someone that's like running the risk, though. Let's just say that. A few more appearances on stations like this one, channels like this one, and it's like, oh man, what are you doing? But it's not on this channel. It's on our Patreon page, and you got to give me money to get that. Or somebody stole it and is putting it out there for free. Either way, I think it's a really good conversation that I have with this person. We talk about creating comics, create our own comics, different avenues and social issues that maybe influence the way people create comics. And also about creative, oh, I can't think of the word. It's late. I'm tired. Have a good night, and we'll see you next week.